General Secretary Petro Symonenko denounced the legislation, which passed its first reading earlier this month, as plundering the people's property. Backed by the International Monetary Fund IMF, the bill paves the way for the sell-off of around 3,500 state-owned enterprises, providing for the sale of public assets at knockdown prices by reducing the asking price by 25 and then 50% if foreign speculators object to the initial valuation, and by even more in consultation with potential investors if that too fails to please. The fire sale is part of agreements reached with the IMF in return for a bailout that began in 2015 and is required for Kiev to get its hands on the next wage. Ukraine's economy was hit hard following the fascist-backed Maidan coup of February 2014, shrinking by 6.8% in 2014 and by 12% the next year. Legal changes will also allow Ukrainian firms to be bought and sold in other jurisdictions without reference to the country's own authorities. The basic industries, energy and transport, should fill the state treasury, and the lion's share should guarantee constitutional rights to education, science, culture, pensions, medicine and public safety, Mr. Symonenko objected. Kiev claims that many of the enterprises are loss-making drains on the state's coffers, and that privatization is part of economic liberalization which will eventually lead to growth. But Mr. Symonenko said lots of previously profitable firms have been mismanaged by a racketeering elite. It turns out that, if of 3,460 state enterprises 608 are completely unprofitable, it is not the regime and its agents who are to blame, but the insufficient pace of privatization, he noted sarcastically. Ministers had cited the Odessa port plant enterprise, whose fertilizer products were in demand before Maidan but which had lost out following unequal trade deals signed with the EU. Did the association with the EU open the markets of Europe for our products, he asked. No. Mr. Symonenko called for a return to socialism, when all enterprises worked for the benefit of the people and not for the pockets of homegrown hucksters and their long-distance puppeteers.